Murli. I'm from Henkel. We deal with brands like Schwarzkopf Professional and Indola Professional. To start with, I'm not Caesar's wife, like Manmohan Singh says. I stay scrutinized by my clients here. So I won't be making a sales pitch for Schwarzkopf, but I would just like to share a few thoughts on the industry in terms of salons with respect to retailing and where relationship plays a role in terms of building a strong portfolio. Now, a few things came to my mind. I'll kind of rush in because I think it's a huge topic. You can speak for at least a couple of hours on this. One key thing now, why is it important for a salon to focus on retailing of products? The second one is, what are the prerequisites that a salon should have if they want to get into an active retailing? Where and when should you do this retailing? How do you do it? When do you close it? And a brief summary. This is what I'll just run through quickly. Now, coming to this question, why should we get into retailing as part of the salon offering? Now, one very important thing that why are products sold in salons? Now, it was not a habit before the 1960s. This entire retailing business in salons started much after 1960s, and I guess most of us would have been pretty young or haven't born. So, but why did they start this? Now, a key thing that these hairstylists found out is at the salon, I kind of do a fantastic work on the hair. I make them like real heroes or heroines, but they go back home, they use so many products, and then they come back to me again with the same old chicken head. And now how do I stop this, and what should we do? And there is when the company started giving products which would ensure the hair quality is maintained even at the home, and they can still do and create looks what you do at the salon. So it's extremely important that if you want to have a client hair advertising you for you in the market, then the client's hair should be the way it was when he or she left the salon and the time when she comes back. So it's very important. Now, it is also said a sale of a retail product builds loyalty in a consumer. It is not like I just walk into a salon, I had a haircut, I paid my bill, and I walked out. Instead, if you recollect in your own experiences, a client picks up a bottle of a shampoo or a conditioner or a styling product, goes back home, uses it. The touch between the salon and the consumer carries through the length of the period that the person uses the product at home. So if you're really wanting to build loyalty, then product selling is as important as your service that you provide. The third thing, now we call it increasing the earnings. Now, you're in the business of making profits. So is your hairdresser. Your hairdresser wants to make money. Now, retailing is something which can happen along with the service, and therefore there is no additional time spent on selling this. So if you're going to make a 10% profit or a 15% profit with no extra time spent on it, no, I think we should grab it. And therefore, we're talking about increasing profits there. Now, this product, it's also internationally researched, says they are the best referral programs for any salon. Your client walks with a smart haircut, walks with a smart styling, walks with a smart silky looking hair. The friend or a relative or a neighbor is going to ask, where do you go for your haircut? Now, and this is what helps. Now, if the client is maintaining that, this becomes a strong referral program. Now, it's a little pun. I call it bottoms up of a salon business. Now, you can always have a bottoms up with every glass, but then the last bottoms up, what gives you the kick? And this is the kick that you get out of a sale at the end of a consumer's time at your salon. Now, you don't get a kick, then you don't get the real output out of having a drink. So it's important that this bottoms up is achieved. So when this is so important, but what are the myths that hold back? Now, there are three very important myths that run in the salon business. One is we consider ourselves as service providers. Means that I will do a haircut, I'll do a spa, I'll do a straightening, I'll do a coloring, and that's my main job. And I'm in the business because of the service. This is one of the key myths that the industry has. The other one is, see, we are hairstylists. I'm not a salesman. So I don't know how to sell the product. So why do you expect me to sell products? The third thing is now, we have a feeling that the client will feel pressured. If I go talk to the client that you buy this product, the client will not like it. So I don't do it. Now, why I'm calling these myths these need to be demythified. Now, why? Now, what is service? Why would Taj offer a product to be taken home? Why does Starbucks sell coffee beans? Now, there is a reason behind this. Now, Starbucks initially started as just a joint where you drink coffee. But then they sooner realized that doesn't end the association with the people. Now, they need to also sell coffee bean there. So, sales is part of any service. Now, the second point will actually tell you a little better. Now, I'm a hairstylist, I'm not a salesman. Now, don't you actually sell yourself in front of a client? Now, you sell, don't you? You dress smart so that, you get picked by a potential client to do your hair. You cut your hair, you style your hair in such a fashion that a client comes on and sees a fashionable guy there. He says, hey, guy, you come and do my hair. So it's important that you're already selling. So there is nothing more that you're doing. Now, don't we actually tell the customer, hey, look, you got a long locks. You look old. Why don't you cut it short? What are you doing there? You're selling. You're selling your idea there. It's not that you're not selling. So for me, if a salon owner or a hairstylist think that they are not salesmen, I think its basic premise is to be defeated. Now, you are a salesman. All of us are salesmen. So they need to sell, and it has to be brought in. Now, but there are ways to do it. Now, can you keep telling this guy who's sitting in the chair and cutting your hair, would you want to buy a Bonacour shampoo? Would you want to buy a Osis product? You keep asking that, then that's nagging. That's not selling. So that's not going to work, but there is a way how you do it. So what are the prerequisites if a salon really wants to kind of make this bottom-up count to the cash counter? One key thing is, it is the change in belief of these myths and say, hey, look, I'm in the business of selling service, not servicing people. So the moment your belief changes to selling service, then your approach to whatever you have in your salon changes. So everything is seen from the point of view of you need to make a sale, you need to make a revenue, you need to earn a profit on the revenue. Product knowledge. Now, this is where companies like us come in. Now, most of the time, we hear a request from clients saying, my client needs to be trained on coloring. My client needs to be trained on, straightening. But nowhere does this claim or a request comes and says, hey, look, you guys have given me so much of shampoos and styling product. We need training on that. Even if one gets onto a training, the owner provides a half a day or a 2 to 3 hours for this. Now, companies like us, we have nothing less than 160, 170 SKUs of just retail sales products. Now, in 2 hours' time, it's humanly impossible to train anybody. So what happens at the end of the day? It becomes selling a product which you don't know. So it's important that a guy who's selling knows about the product very well. In fact, they call it, you want to sell iPad, you should own an iPad. Now, even guys who sell Benz and BMWs, the salesman drives the Benz and BMWs. They don't own it, but they sell them. So it's important that there is some element of product knowledge and usage at the hairdresser level, which is important. Now, Instead of incentives, you can make product allowances and give them one product a month and say, use this product. So he becomes, you start using it, you get more convinced about the product, and you're more knowledgeable when you're selling those products which you're comfortable with. Now, which we call it as hero products for the month. You can call them as hero products for the month. You give it to people and ask them to sell. Now, the other important thing is now there is a turnover target built to the hairdressers, but the targets are seldom broken into service and retail. So I think one of the key things that we need to do is we should start considering the sales as an important parameter and start putting targets onto that as well. The last and foremost important thing in this entire exercise is location. Typically, it is, excuse me, can I also be present type of retail shelves. A good back bar, a good fancy looking backwash unit, fantastic cutting chairs, nice mirrors, but a retail stand which is asking for an excuse to be present in a salon. Now, that's not going to help. Now, I don't know how many of you have seen, I don't know whether these salon owners or stylists are present here. I really admire a few salons. One of the salons which I really admire is Lux. I think they really define standards for retail shelves. Amazing ones. Affinity, Gitanjali. Now, it's extremely important to create fantastic retail shelves because they're going to do half the sales than your person. So it's important that we focus on that. Now, where and when? Now, can I start selling right from the salon, right from the entry of a client into the salon? Should I do it when the person goes to the cash counter? Should I do it when I'm servicing the person? Now, the standard procedure is this. You got to observe the client's scalp, hair, textures when you're doing consultation. So consultation should be part of the exercise. Now, you need to start probing the client for the first 10 minutes when he or she is cutting the hair. It is just probing, no expert advice, no recommendation. Unless and until you are able to decode what is required for this particular client, you are not making an effort to recommend. Now, then you are supposed to make a suggestion to the client and not forcefully sell. Because the client is not going to like when you keep saying, can I give this? Can I put it into your bill? They're not going to like it. Now, you need to just tell them the need and tell them that this is what you should require. And this would definitely make your hair look better. See, it's a crown. Now, for everybody, hair is the most important thing. And that's why when people fight, they pull the hair, because it can cause the maximum insult, right? How do you do this? See, the hairdresser must, as I said in the previous session, needs to use the product. Now, I know for a fact, and I can challenge many people, that more than 90% of the hairdressers have not used the product even once what they're selling. Now, how do you expect him to sell with conviction? They're not going to sell. They're going to talk about the product and leave the choice to the client to make it, right? And expensive products, it doesn't work that way. You've got to make an effort to say why it is. You can always say, see, I have an anti-dandruff shampoo like Head & Shoulders or All Clear available in the market for 100 ml at 58-64 rupees. Now, why should I buy your shampoo at 600 rupees in the salon? Now, that's not going to happen just like talking, unless you tell them why they need a better quality product. So it's important that they use. The most important thing is, they call it touch marketing in terms of marketing parlance. Put simplified is allow the customer to touch, feel, and smell your product. In most of the places, I'll find the retail shelf locked and the key with the cash counter. Now, what is that? Now, you're just going to see some products lying, it's going to become a scenery. You're not going to sell out of that. And people have a fear that, people will steal it. Now, people will take it and go. Now, people will open the product and start using the product. All this is yes, and I'm not saying no. But then you're in the business to do You need to trust people, isn't it? Now, you walk on the road, do you know the car driver who's driving and coming knows to drive or not? So you stop walking on the road? You don't. There are some chances you take for an output. So I think it's important that you allow the product in the hand of the customer for a few minutes. There is a research which says if a customer touches the product and starts feeling it, there are 50% higher chances of converting him rather than a guy who's seeing and inquiring the product. So it's up to us whether we want to capitalize on this or still say, I'm very conservative, I don't want my products to be touched, made dirty, and things like that. No perfumes in the world will sell if there are no testers. It may be CK, it can be Bevelgeri, it can be any brand that you talk about, they cannot sell without testers. In our product, they don't have to test it in using, but then smell makes a world of difference in the segment that we operate. You get them to open, let them to feel the smell. I think you will do a lot of conversion there. The last one is how to close. Now, most of the salons, I guess you start implementing this. There's something called a prescription sheet. Now, it's a small sheet you can have in which the hairdresser at the end of the day after working puts a few comments and saying this person has this kind of a hair and I kind of recommend these kind of products. Which happens after probing, after observing and talking to the client. Leave that small chit at the reception counter along with the product bunched up. Now, this needs to happen before the client walks to the counter. It is possible because no client, after your service, straight away gets up and walks to the counter. They take at least 2 to 3 minutes minimum. They stand in front of the mirror, they see all their profiles, they try to change and things like that, and only then they move. So you got this time wherein your person rushes in, gets his product gathered, kept on the table. Not billed, of course. Why this needs to be done this way is one of the famous statements which I've heard is the client who's emotional under your scissors and comb becomes rational when he pulls his wallet out at the retail counter. So you got to get a sale, you got to get the sale when he's under your comb and scissors, when he is emotional. You go to the counter, you lost the business. Right? So this is extremely critical. And the other thing is, I've seen this many times as a consumer myself. The guy will recommend me a product, but he will stand behind the counter and keep watching. Sir, lera ki nahi? That is a bad habit. He leaves it, he just should go back. Then it is the responsibility of the cashier or the cash counter. And most of the time, this is again just an offbeat point, incentives are paid only for the hairstylist to sell a product and never the cash guy. Please understand, he's an integral part of this transaction. He can always say, don't pay the incentive, it's okay, sir, if you don't buy, no problem. If there is an incentive, then he is also into the process. Right, so that's very important. Now, also make it a point that when somebody is not selling, you will find people face dropping. Don't do it. I think it's easier said than done, but it happens. But just start making it a point that you have the next date fixed on the prescription sheet. At least you are ensuring a connect, and the guy starts feeling that, okay, this guy is taking care of me, he knows me. Now that's the relationship that you build, which will help you. If not this time, you're able to sell a retail product, next time you'll do it. Or passing by, he might come back and say, okay, I didn't buy yesterday, can I take this product today? So there is a possibility of this conversion provided we remain with these kind of basics. So nutshell, I don't know whether I've taken more than 7 minutes, probably yes, but still. A few points that I would like to leave in your mind. Sales is integral part of service. We are in the business of selling service. We are not in the business of just doing service. So selling is core. And so you don't have to feel bad that I've been asked to sell the product. You are selling yourself already in the business, right? Don't take me otherwise. Now, get your clients touch, feel, and smell the product. It's extremely important. Don't make it like a bride completely covering her face and sitting inside somewhere. Let the bride be visible for her to be seen. Because the interesting point, your client is rational at the cash counter. Don't try and make an effort when he pulls his wallet and starts seeing the cash in the wallet. There is a research by a salon chain called Forest de Salon. They say the clients who buy two products, among the clients who bought two products, 60% of them returned back to the salon. Among the clients which bought one product, 30% came back. Clients who never bought the product, they had very less repeat rates. So the choice is yours whether to sell and retain or just do a service and get them off your table. The choice is completely ours. Finally, gentlemen, with this last note, I'll say thank you. Bottoms up always gives the kick to create more cash. So please, bottoms up. Thank you.